The world is his litter box. Help him find his cat. Yeah, I feel like I could learn a lot from him.
Today we meet Isaac Marion, creator of Warm Bodies, now living an adventurous life off-grid with his cat Bob. Unplug from the world and get to know them both today on Industry Pets. Welcome to the show, Isaac Marion, YouTube channel Edge Outpost, and the author of the Warm Bodies book series, which you may have also seen as a film, major feature film. Welcome to the show, Isaac. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. In fact, my cat just walked in the door as you introduced me. So
oh, wonderful.
He must have heard that there was something going down.
That's awesome. Introduce everyone to the cat.
Well, he will almost certainly jump up here at any moment. Come on, Bob. You know, he always wants to be a part of the interviews.
He's like,
there he is.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for joining the interview today. Bob, your cat that lives with you off the grid. An amazing story, amazing life that you have, my friend. But we're also going to talk about another really cool character. Let's go ahead and start with Watson, because Watson came before Bob, correct?
Yeah. He was really my first adult pet. Like I had dogs and cats when I was a little kid, but I feel like it doesn't really count because they're partially taken care of by your family and I had rodents and such. But yeah, then I didn't have any pets for most of my 20s and 30s, and then I got Watson sometime. I guess it probably would have been my early 30s, and he was my first real personal connection with a pet.
You got separated from Watson, so what happened?
Yeah, so I forget what year it was when I still lived in Seattle. It was kind of the moment I was making the shift toward this weird new life that I'm in now, where I decided I didn't want to live in cities anymore, but I hadn't quite realized how far away I wanted to be from them. And I was moving. I sold my house in Seattle, but I didn't have anywhere to move to yet. So I just kind of took the plunge. I was like, this has to happen, and I'm doing it. And I moved into my van and started, driving around hunting for a new place to live. I hadn't really heard of like people having van cats at the time. Now it's kind of like a whole phenomenon of people traveling with their cats. But at the time that seemed kind of impossible to me, because it was just like, he'll get out, he'll escape. He wasn't trained like that. So it never really occurred to me to take him with me. And I just thought, like, I need to bring him somewhere safe while I'm in this sort of dangerous transitional period. And so I sent him to live with my grandparents, which during what I thought was going to be a relatively short transitional period, like a few weeks, I figured. Basically, I didn't realize how not all there my grandpa was at the time. He wasn't like senile or anything as far as we knew, but he just wasn't really lucid in the way that I thought he was, and he got it into his head that Watson would like to have some fresh air, and he just opened the window. And he opened it, to be fair to him, he's dead now, so don't speak ill of the dead. But he opened it a little crack, thinking he would just get some fresh air, and he didn't realize that cats are stronger than they look, and that he would ever be able to actually pull the window open. So that's how he got out, and he escaped out the window. And basically, I thought that was the end of it. And I spent months trying to find him. I lived at my grandparents' house for a long time in my van, and just went out every day putting up posters and posted on every forum, notified every vet office and everyone. Just like I even got like Teresa Palmer, who co-star of Warm Bodies. I even got her to post on her like million follower Twitter account, like, help him find his cat. And I incurred no expense to try. I actually hired a bloodhound guy who had hounds who were supposed to be able to track cats, and it was everything to me to find him, but he never turned up. It was the first time I'd ever lost a pet, and was kind of shocked at how profoundly it affected me. I accepted it and moved on, and 6 years went by. Got a call one day while I was shopping, and I was like, "Are you the owner of Watson?" And it was a vet that had scanned his chip and called me, and he had been found by this old lady in that town where he was lost. She had kept him. She thought this was 9 months later. When she found him, and she kept him because she said that when she found him, he was pretty beat up, like he was in bad shape, and she thought that he had escaped from some kind of bad home or he was feral or something. So it never occurred to her to like try to take him in, find the owner, because she kind of didn't want to find the owner because she thought he was being abused. Apparently he didn't have any medical problems for 6 years because she never went to the vet. And but this was the first time he got in a fight and she had to take him in. And that's why they called me. So I had this whole very intense decision to make where they gave me her phone number and I called her. I went to see him and talk to her about it and everything, and make sure that he was in good hands and everything was he seemed happy, he seemed healthy. And I was like, well, it just kind of became clear he's part of her family now, and it just seemed, it's sort of a tragic, bittersweet thing, but at least he's alive, and at least I got to see him again, and it was a huge weight off my chest to like have that closure and just like reconnect with him.
Let's talk about Bob. How did Bob come into your life?
He was just kind of a straightforward find. I just found him on Craigslist. It was one of those cases where somebody's cat got pregnant and they had kittens and they need to go somewhere. So I just went to their house and he was the one that spoke to me, and I just took him.
Is he declawed, or does he have his claws? Because he's indoor and outdoor, right?
He needs, I want him well equipped with the best weapons you can get. So I would never mess with that. Yeah.
What makes him the perfect companion for off-grid living?
Well, I already had him before I moved out here. So I didn't choose him for this environment, but I did, before this environment, he was indoor, and it wasn't until I moved out here that I started to explore, the safety options of letting him run free. And I actually built like a kind of a zoo enclosure outside. First, I had a little, I guess kind of a glorified catio thing, but it was made of, it was like a giant chicken coop that you could come in and out from. I did it in stages, like to try to figure out, how this was going to work. Cause like you can't tell from the camera here, but my home is 10 by 13 feet. It's a box basically that I live in. So there's barely any room to move in here, and I wasn't sure how it was going to work with keeping him in here full time. As it turned out, I mean, I didn't know at the time, but he became an ideal off-grid pet because he's just so chill. He just knows what's up. I feel like he is competent. I observe him very carefully when he's outside, and I've seen how he reacts to, danger. He has basically become a dog. Weirdly enough, he has recently started going on walks with me, like without a leash. If I go off out into the field, he'll just sort of follow me at my heel like a dog. And when it's time to turn around, he comes back with me, and like he understands that like he doesn't go off alone. He only stays, in the near perimeter of the house when I'm here. But if I go on a walk, he's like, okay, it's walk time, and he'll go with me.
So what's the litter box situation like, since he's indoor and outdoor?
The world is his litter box.
Awesome.
Yeah, I actually do have a litter box in here for the winter time because he's particular about his weather. He doesn't like to go outside if it's cold or rainy. So if that's the case, he needs the litter box to use. So he has options, basically.
Finish this sentence. In a perfect world, all cats would...
Off the top of my head, without getting too profound, I would say would be able to be safely outside. Because like I go outside with Bob, and I watch just the incredible exuberance where he'll just bolt off across the field and climb up a tree, and his eyes are wide, and he's just like, this is living. He's just loving every second of it. And he gets so much exercise. He's just wild and free. It's just like, I wish they could all have what Bob gets, because it's just beautiful to see.
What are Bob's favorite toys?
He kind of doesn't do toys anymore. He used to love there's that one called the bird, which is like 3 feathers on a little spinny thing, and you move it around and it kind of makes the feathers spin and fly. So he loved that thing. Pretty much any toy on a string was his thing. Like he didn't, anything that doesn't move on its own, he would glance at it and then immediately lose interest. And anything mechanized, oddly enough, so I discovered, I don't know if all cats are like this, but him and Watson was like this too. All the motorized toys that jiggle around on their own and stuff. Mm-hmm. Both these cats, like, they see through it. They're just like, that's not real. That's fake. I'm not chasing it. He pretty much doesn't play with toys anymore because he's outside. So it's like he has unlimited entertainment.
What is the most admirable trait of a cat?
That's an interesting question. The trait that I've been thinking about a lot lately because of what happened with Watson, they really live in the moment. Like, they seem very adaptable, and I admire that, and I strive toward that.
Can you give us a few tips for people thinking about getting their first cat?
It's so complex depending on like what the circumstances are. I think that what your living circumstances are changes things a lot. I got Watson from a shelter, but he was really young. He was like 7 months old, so he was still kind of a kitten. He turned out to be a pretty cool dude. And I got Bob, as a baby kitten, and he turned out to be super cool. You really have to be honest with yourself and like what you're prepared to deal with, because I've seen a lot of people, they think that they're going to rescue some shelter cat who has a lot of problems, and they're just not. They don't realize how much it's going to affect their life. And I think like if you're going to be the person who martyrs yourself to save the traumatized cat, make sure that you've got what it takes to deal with that, and don't just like send them back to the shelter or shuffle them around, because it's not good for them either if you're not ready for it.
A meteor lands from space right outside of your shed where you live. Bob goes out to investigate. Bob comes back to your shed. The door opens, but instead of Bob, it's a human. Bob has now turned human. What are you and Bob doing now that he has become human for a day?
Wow, that's a creative one. For a day? Just a day?
One day, you, okay, Bob, okay. Human. Thank you, meteorite. What are you doing?
Well, that helps, because I was thinking, like, if he's full on human now, is he my son? Do I have to like get, formally adopt him, or what? How does that change our dynamic? But if it's just for a day, I would just love to have long conversations with him, because that's really the only thing that I can't do now. I mean, we hang out already. We go on walks together. We chill together. We watch TV together. Like we're basically just bros, roommates right now. It's the only thing I can't do is like really know what he's thinking. Have I totally misjudged you? Like, do you have secret plans? Do you actually hate me? Or like, give me the truth about like your experience with this crazy life, because I've dragged him on a pretty crazy journey. I mean, I've moved through three homes since I got him. What do you think of me, man? Like, do you get why this all had to happen? Are we cool? or do you have some things you want to say to me? Because I'd love for him to get the chance to get it out. Once in a while, like those days where the weather's bad and I feel like he's blaming me for it. It's really strange, because like he'll come up to me and just plant himself right in front of me and like look me dead in the eyes, and there's just this glare, like he's trying to tell me like, I don't know, can I swear on this show?
Well, you can. I'll bleep it.
Okay, you're f***ing up, man. That's it, and I don't know why. I'm like, dude, what?
He's human, and you guys argue a little bit. You're like, why do you keep turning on the snow about once a year? You turn the snow on.
Yeah. This would be finally my chance to explain to him, I don't control the weather. I don't like it either, I swear.
All right, so Bob's back to a cat. It's the next morning. You go to pluck out the meteor, and then next thing you know, you are a cat. If you turn into a cat for a day, what are you doing with Bob?
And Bob's still a cat?
Both of your cats now.
I mean, I would definitely just want him to show me the ropes. I'd want him to take me on a hunt. I'd want to follow him around, and assuming we can communicate on a human level, because we're both speaking the same language, I just want him to like describe what it feels like for him. Like what are we doing, and like why are we doing this? And he'd probably tell me like, what do you mean why? That word means nothing to me. We just do things because that's what we're here for. And I'd be like, all right, yeah, I can get that. But yeah, I feel like I could learn a lot from him.
Thanks for being on the show. Tell everybody what you got going on and where they can find you at.
Yeah, so the main thing we're focusing on at the moment is my YouTube channel, which is Edge Outpost. Or if you just search Isaac Marion, it'll come up too. It's a pretty new thing for me. I just started getting into making videos in general, and then also like this idea of using them as kind of like a journal of the weird experience of living out here in the wilderness, and in particular kind of the contrasts of being a writer kind of engaged with society still from a distance, but also living in like really rustic circumstances, and just a lot of the strange experiences and insights that pop up from doing this. And also there's Bob's in every single one of them. A lot of gratuitous cat, as I call it. But yeah, that's my main thing right now. And then I am still writing books, but I don't have a new one to promote or anything. So my website has all the old books are on there. And yeah, my YouTube and my website. I do Instagram as well, but the main thing I'm pushing these days is is that channel.
Well, it's an awesome channel, and we get to see Bob a lot on the channel. I've been really enjoying it. So thank you for sharing your life as well as your life with Bob on all of your platforms. It's so awesome to get to know you both. Thank you for taking the time to be on Industry Pet.